Hey everyone, it's Nathus, and welcome to another all foil The Last Winter booster kit opening. So this again was one of the rewards from backing the Kickstarter. So I always love shiny things. Like in every other game that I play, my goal is always to foil out my decks. So when I saw this tier, I was like, I know it's for me. It was kind of pricey compared to just ordering additional like normal boosters, but it was something that I thought would be really cool. So I went with it. So we're going to start with our Aloyan. I'm hoping that, again, one of the lists out of these 16 all-foil lists end up being competitive and exciting just for the sake of being able to play it in a competitive event and just like show off the bling. So we're starting with an Aloyan Patroller, Ardent Archivist, Camouflage Banshee, Drone Hive, excited about that, Electronet, Forge Plate Yeti, Guard Scavenger, Shardbound Vexer, Venerable Hacker, Zapping Warcharger, and Ironbeard with knockback at level 2, formation at level 3, and shield slam at level 4. So we've got a couple ways to upgrade, but not really a lot of upgrade synergy. We don't really have a ton of armor to take advantage of that Forge Plate Yeti. I feel like this deck is almost relying on a good pair to really benefit off of Drone Hive. Banshee's not a bad what's it called, Betrayer, just because you can get the stealth here, and if you kill something on the other backswing when it's like there on Forge, then you potentially also get that slight trigger as well. So you're hopefully dealing damage every turn with it. But overall, I would say there's nothing incredibly special about this list, but we will see if it would pair well with something. So I think, again, this one's really important about the support than anything else. So let's get this off the table and look at our next list. So we're going to go with Tempest next. Got another Butcher. I feel like some of these foil lists might even be harder to open than the non-foil. I know it's just an illusion in my head, but the packaging just feels extra tight, so I can't really get my finger under it. Starting with an Ardrius the Butcher, Ardent Gale Carrier, moving and Exalt off activation, Echoing More Stoker, Firebranding Sparker, Flamebreak Invoker, Fleet Brawler, Fleet Smash Fist, got a Mount of Heroes, Stampeding Mongosaur, Stone Skin. So it looks like the grouping is still here in the foil decks, which is kind of upsetting because I keep opening the same 3 or 4 cards in every deck. We got Whirlwind, Korok's Wisdom, and Stronghold. Like, granted, some of these cards that I keep opening are not bad. Like Stampeding Mongosaur is a solid card. Smash Fist, I'm not as excited about, but I've opened it in almost every list. But again, it's like with all the tens of thousands of cards, it's like I don't want to keep seeing the same ones, even if they're really strong ones. So I've seen Mount of Heroes. It's a really strong card. Awesome to be able to play for free and move around with that Echoing and with that Gale Carrier. So in terms of like a sealed deck, this one I like a lot. So we have the way to play free Exalts. Granted, there's only one Exalt, but we've got ways to give aggressive. We've got mobility. We've got battling. So overall, I think that this one could be strong, but it's nothing that I would say I would ultimately play competitively. And again, there's just some cards I would like to see more of comparative to the ones I keep seeing every time. And I'm not sure if it's just that like we're dealing with a specific portion of the print run, and maybe it's just a lot of the decks that are generated that are similar to each other are just generated at the same time. I don't know what it is, but like I've had a few people message me being like, "Have you noticed this?" And that was right after I filmed one of a series of videos where I'm like, "Wow, I keep opening the same subset of cards." But I was hoping specifically that the foil decks would have a different grouping just because they would probably be in a different part of the print run. But as of now, it looks like, again, I'm seeing a grouping of very similar 2 or 3 cards in like most decks together. Now I'd be a little less like, not bummed, but a little less like frustrated about it if it was like, wow, I've got a Dire Hound with a River of Souls in every list. Um, so it's like one of those things where it's like sometimes you'll just hit the good end of it, and I guess sometimes you'll just hit the not as exciting end. So we got an Ardent Tusk Mage, Cherished Shrine, Might of the Trees, Nature's Progression, Oxidon Rager, Preserved Habitat, Roaring War Tusk, Stegodon Alpha, Stout Breakwood, Uprising Mastodon, and an Oros. Dark Spores at level 2, Barkskin at level 3, and Shapeshift at level 4. Alright, so I guess the big thing to note here is we've got a couple cards that actually upgrade. So we've got Preserved Habitat, Nature's Progression. We've got the synergy with the Preserved Habitat and the Tusk Mage. We've got a couple Exalts, but nothing Exalted here, but at least this could synergize well with some Exalted creatures. We've got Might of the Trees, which lets you play Oak Fathers. And actually, that upgrades stuff at lower levels too. There's actually a good amount of upgrade synergy here, with being able to potentially use Roaring to give additional attack, Stegodon Alpha to give additional attack. That Uprising Mastodon could potentially see a lot of additional stat buffs with that Uprising modification. So overall, actually, this deck I like a lot in terms of sealed. I would still experiment with it in constructed, but so far it's this deck plus the Tempest I think would be a pretty good sealed pool. But let's see what the Necreon brings. All right. Starting with a Creeper. I don't think I've actually opened any decks with a Creeper yet in this set, so I didn't realize Creeper was even in this set. That's exciting. Creeper's always a great card. All right. So we're starting with an Arrogant Creeper, Combat Deathseeker, Dreadbolt, Graveborn Caller, Horrific Skeleton, Infernal Ritual, Portal Shade, Sacrifice Chamber, Stout Spirit, Varric's Embrace, and Cersei, with Cersei's Propaganda at level 2, Sorrow at level 3, and Grave Robbery at level 4. So this list has some removal, because it's got the Dreadbolt and the Varric's Embrace. We've got some stealth with the Portal Shade and the Graveborn Caller. The Spirit is not usually very exciting for me because a lot of games will have very clogged lanes, and it's something where it's like I don't want to have to worry about really having my creature not actually be able to enter the field or not be able to survive. But Sacrifice Chamber is always great. If you do the Sacrifice Chamber in the lane with the Arrogant Creeper, they're almost always going to just choose to take the damage. So choose to take the damage. So it guarantees that you're going to do damage to face. But if they decide to kill a creature, I guess you get the double trigger. The trigger anyway. Combat Deathseeker is not really doing too much on this list except for with that Infernal Ritual. I guess you could technically play your Stout Spirit to die to then play the Combat Deathseeker. But overall, I feel like I personally like the Utera Tempest in terms of a sealed pool. I would say that so far out of the 2 foil boosters I've opened, there's nothing that I'll be like, wow, this deck's incredibly strong. So that's a little disappointing, just again, where I want the foil decks to be like the coolest. But overall, this has been definitely a very fun experience. So thanks for tuning in to this foil deck opening, And next one, I will be opening another all foil booster. So I'll see you guys next time.